You know, we always get excited when we hear, oh Lord, it's about to be a new year. Oh God, God getting ready to do some things in my life. And it always, the fact that the new year is coming always puts a certain level of anticipation in our spirits and in our minds and in our hearts. We start dreaming, we start hoping, and we start wondering and pondering. What is it going to be? What is going to happen? And when we hear all these wonderful cliches that really grip our spirit and we grab hold to them and we say, oh my, God's going to do it, God's going to do it. And then in 2005, God is coming alive in 2005. Everything is going to be fixed in 2006. And 2007 is the number of completion. And oh, we just dancing and running and shouting and getting excited and sweating our clothes out and losing the curls in your hair and just having a time because it's getting ready to be a new year. And we hear these things and we're excited for the month of January. We're excited for the month of February. March rolls in and things kind of start trickling down. What's wrong with me? Everybody say, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Could it be that we're hearing these wonderful messages, we're hearing these wonderful, inspiring cliches, but they're not taking root in our heart? We are not able to work through the details to get the finished thing. But we want to look at the preacher and the pastor and blame him or blame her. Did she really hear from God on that word? Because ain't nothing changed in my life. Did he really hear from God on that word? Nothing has changed in my life. And the question is, why? Year after year, month after month, I am in the same position. I come to church, I give my tithe, I give my offering. I'm there for Bible study, I'm there on Sundays. Whenever the door is open, I'm there, but nothing is going in my favor. God, what is the problem? And then many times we will get upset with God and say, God, you're not as faithful to me as you are Sister so-and-so. You're not as faithful to me as you are brother so-and-so, but not so. The same God that loves the congregants on this side of the room, the same God that's shielding and protecting and delivering the congregants on this side of the room is the same God. And if he will do it for this side of the room, what would make him not do it for this side of the room? Because he is a just God. Look at your neighbor and say, he is a just God. And so as I begin to prepare to address you on this Lord's Day, God said to me that it is vitally crucial that we put some things in perspective. If we are going to embrace this year of Jubilee, if we are going to embrace what God has said to us for our lives personally, there are some things that we have to put in perspective. And the first thing that we have to put in perspective is vision. Everybody say visions. Vision. It is the prophet Joel that comes to us here in this text. His very name says that the Lord is God. Here in this text, I want to give you some of the backdrop to what's happening in the text. Here in this setting, an extended drought and massive invasion of locusts has stripped the land of every green thing that was there in the land. And it brought about a severe place of economic devastation, leaving the southern kingdom weak. Now, as I read that and saw that, I said, that's very interesting. It sounds very much like what's happening in our land today. There is an economic crisis that has swept the land, swept the country, and it's leaving people absolutely devastated. And in the midst of all that's going on, in the midst of all that we hear in the news, in the midst of all of our friends calling us and telling us that everything arrayed in their lives, and things are not coming together. In the midst of all of that, our vision can become obscured. Because as we're human, you know, and we tend to lean more towards what we can physically see. We tend to lean towards more what's really right there facing me, what I just pulled up and look online and my bank account statement says, as opposed to believing in the power of the great eternal God of the heavens and the earth. But I can't see him right now. I'm looking at my bank account that's at a negative. And so it becomes challenging to really see and know the power of the God that you serve. And so our vision can become obscured. And so the Lord gives a word to the prophet Joel, and he says, go to my people and help them begin to put things back in perspective. Go to my people and help them begin to kind of refocus their thoughts. Because you see what has happened in the land, the locusts have come in and they have devoured some things. And if you're like me, there's been some times that I looked back over 2011 and said, yeah, it's looking like the locust has devoured some things in my life. It seems like this thing right here was really breathing and moving and going, but all of a sudden it's turning brown and it's dying and it's not looking like what God has promised me. And I hear the word of God over here saying that if God be for you, who can be against you? But every time I hear that word, the enemy whispers in my ear over here, but it ain't happened yet. It's not looking like it's going to happen. And so what is happening is I'm stuck in the middle of the promise and the performance. And in the middle is vision. Somebody say vision. In the middle is vision. And I'm trying to see what God is doing. I'm trying to hear what God is saying. But if I begin to internalize the situation, if I begin to internalize what the enemy is saying to me, what I begin to hear is what the enemy is saying. So subsequently, my vision becomes what I'm listening to on this side. This is why I have to stay in the word of God. When the enemy tells me something, I got to pick up my word and say, what is it in this word that's going to counter what the enemy has told me? Because the enemy is fighting my vision, and if I allow him to fight my vision, I won't meet my destiny. And so why is it that the enemy is so determined to mess up your vision? The enemy is determined to mess up your vision because if he takes what you see, then you can't see what God sees.